everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins, and this is my good buddy Brandon, and welcome to our YouTube channel. If you're finding us for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. So this is what I've kind of dubbed our weekly show here on the channel, where we do probably a good hour-long discussion of all the movie news and wrestling recaps. And tonight's going to be Mike's Wrestling Fun Facts and Trivia. We're going to do a Funkos and Collectibles video for you here as well. But we always start off these weekly videos with movie news, because I know a lot of audiences are not big fans of pro wrestling or football, whenever we get around to that, or Funkos and things like that. So with that being said, let's get into the movie news of this week. And we're going to be recapping a lot of stuff from this week, and not least of which is last week on Friday, Disney and Disney Plus had a streaming event where they were basically going to go over some of their new announcements and releases and things like that for the upcoming year or so on the Disney Plus service, and they were dubbing it Disney Plus Day. And we got all sorts of announcements we got an announcement that the live-action Pinocchio with Tom Hanks will be coming out in fall of 2022. Chippendales Rescue Rangers, Predator prequel entitled Prey, which is going to be set 300 years before the Arnold Schwarzenegger film, so that could be interesting to see. We're getting a Baymax TV series based on the Marvel comic as well, that they did a movie. What was the name of the movie? Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's Heroes.
Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're getting that series based on the Baymax character. We're getting a Cars TV series with Larry the Cable Guy and Owen Wilson coming back to voice their characters. A Willow series, an Ice Age TV series, and so much more. Not the least of which I'm a small minor Star Wars rant here. The Obi-Wan sizzle reel released on Thursday. It got leaked, and many people thought, okay, since that sizzle reel came out on Thursday, we're going to be getting the Obi-Wan trailer on Friday. That was the speculation. Well, Friday came and went. No Obi-Wan trailer. They just re-released the sizzle reel, so I was a little bit bummed about that. That being said, though, the sizzle reel looked great. I can't wait to see Hayden Christensen's back as Darth Vader against Obi-Wan one more time, one more go-around. And to all you Star Wars fans out there, it does not and it will not break canon. Don't worry about that. I know the whole line on A New Hope about, it's a presence I've not felt since. And then, of course, he's like, when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. You can still do something between episode 3 and episode 4. It doesn't break canon, so don't worry about it. It's going to be just fine. But with that being said, the biggest news of the day came from Marvel Studios. And Marvel Studios, while we knew a lot of these projects already, there were 5 brand new Disney Plus shows that were announced. So let's take a look at this here. These are all the logos that were released, the updated logos for the shows that we knew were coming already. We knew She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, What If Season 2, I Am Groot, Ironheart, and Secret Invasion were all coming. And of course, on top of that, not listed here, is Loki Season 2. We know all those are still coming down the pipe here. However, 5 new shows were also announced, including 3 animated shows at that. One, of course, being X-Men 97, which is going to be a continuation of the X-Men 1990 series, which I believe ran until 1996, so 1997 being the pickup of it makes a lot of sense. So that'll be fun. They already got a lot of the old cast members back to do the voices for their characters, and some new cast members at that. We also got confirmation of Echo, which is a character that will be showing up in the Hawkeye series here within just another week or so, and it also has heavy ties to the Daredevil character, which I've discussed here on the channel about how, Daredevil could possibly show up in Spider-Man No Way Home, maybe even in She-Hulk, because She-Hulk, Jessica Walters, is also a lawyer, so it would make some narrative sense to kind of build up Daredevil through these other movies and shows before maybe we get a reboot of his character from the Netflix show. We'll see. We have to wait and see if Charlie Cox comes back to play that character or not. We're also going to be getting another animated series entitled Spider-Man Freshman Year. This is going to delve into the time of Tom Holland's Spider-Man before he meets Tony Stark in Civil War, as he's kind of fighting crime a little bit, doing some stuff when he first gets his powers. Maybe we'll get his Uncle Ben story, how he became Spider-Man, his little origin story that we never really got in the MCU, that all the other Spider-Mans in live action actually got in their films. This might be a nice little place to kind of pick up and show that side of his story. And then
hold on. I don't think you need to do like the Uncle Ben. I get what you're saying,
right?
But it could always pick up after Uncle Ben dies, and it could be a thing of like, we know what happened. It's like the whole Batman thing again, and I get it. It's like kind of know how he got there.
Right, and I think that's why they didn't do it in the movie, which
Mm-hmm.
is fine. And this being just a cartoon series on Disney Plus, you can maybe go back and tell the story. And for those who are interested, can go watch it. But I see what you're saying too. I don't know if we necessarily need it, but I also wonder too. In Civil War, he tells Tony Stark that he's had these powers for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So how long could you do an animated series with 6 months? I mean, you could stretch that out. Obviously he talked about being a dumpster diver, and also we get more time of him in his high school year here. And of course, him doing some of the stuff that Tony showed him on his phone that he saw on YouTube. So there are things like that you can explore, but at what point does that stop and maybe you do, some stuff that happens in between his films? I mean, you could maybe do a time jump there, maybe something like that. But being it's called freshman year, I got a feeling it's going to take place there. Now, there's been some speculation that it would be freshman year of college, but we've not seen that yet. Now, we may see him kind of go beyond high school in the new film coming out. We don't know yet. We'll talk a little bit more about the future of Spider-Man by the end of this show as well. But I think it could be interesting to at least explore. But they've mentioned he mentioned Uncle Ben in the What If series. Now, other than that, we didn't really get a whole lot of info about how he in this world became Spider-Man. So maybe we'll get that here. We'll have to wait and see. Another animated show that they announced, though, which is based on another Marvel comic and is actually a spin-off pretty much of the What If series, Marvel Zombies, was announced. I got to admit, I like the What If couple episodes
Yeah,
they
that
did
was
with
cool.
this.
Yeah. I thought it was cool.
I don't know how you build a whole series around it unless you just kind of set it in its own world and like, all right, this is the story of, which they kind of went into how it happened on What If, but maybe you could expand upon it. I don't know what their plans are here, but anytime you can bring in zombie characters with Marvels as well, I'm down for it 100%. And last but certainly not least, a series I'm definitely looking forward to, especially if you saw WandaVision and you were a big fan of Catherine Hahn's character, Agatha Harkness. She has been signed by Marvel to a long extension and a multiple project deal, and she will be starring in her own Disney Plus show, Agatha House of Harkness, live action. So that will be coming down the line, probably within the next few years as well. Taking a look at this, Brandon, any thoughts on any of these? Are you looking forward to them? You got any questions on some of the other ones that we already knew about?
I knew about a couple of these. The zombie one, I think you're right about that though. Like, how far are we going with the zombie thing? I still think it'd be cool. I enjoyed watching the What If series. I thought it was a really dope.
And we are getting a second
about a lot of them.
Season.
You know what I'm really pumped about?
What's that?
The X-Men. Like, I used to love watching the X-Men.
I need to go back and watch them. I don't remember much about the 90s series. I mean, I remember obviously, the Wolverine and the yellow spandex, and and all that stuff. Yeah, Jubilee was a big thing in that show.
Jubilee,
as well,
all right, listen.
Which kind of got the shaft in the movies a little bit.
I'm about to rant a little bit here.
Go ahead, go. Let's get it.
Jubilee has the dumbest power.
Is it what, fireworks, I think?
Yeah.
Sparklers.
Don't be wrong, she's probably...
Whoops, my bad. There we go.
Dumb power.
Yeah, right.
I'm hoping to see more Gambit. Gambit is a
too.
dope character that you get a lot of him in the series, and it's pretty dope because you get to learn something about his backstory and stuff like that. And this whole tough demeanor that he has is kind of a mask in a sense, because it's one or two episodes you really get to dive into Gambit and see he's not this terrible, womanizing person. He's actually a really dope character though.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. Like, wholeheartedly, super excited for that.
Well, if what I've heard is true, that show did a very good job of character development for all those characters,
and
even
Beast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and not to mention that series is available on Disney Plus now, so you could go back and watch all those leading up to the revival of this series. I don't know, again, it just depends on how well fans receive it, how long it can possibly go. But some of these other shows, like clearly, obviously What If Season 2 is coming. So that's going to dive into what happens after the current season we got. Loki Season 2. She-Hulk. I hear She-Hulk and Moon Knight's probably going to be the next series, probably early in 2022. Don't know which one's coming first, but they sound like they'll be the first ones to come. Then Miss Marvel in the summer, leading up into probably, I don't know if Secret Invasion is going to come before or after the Marvels, but Miss Marvel, Secret Invasion, and the Marvels with Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau, they're all going to be a pseudo trilogy, I think, because you're going to get the introduction to Kamala Khan, Secret Invasion's dealing with the Skrulls and Nick Fury, which is a big thing with the Captain Marvel character. So I got a feeling these are all going to kind of flow together, kind of like WandaVision, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is going to do with the multiverse. So they're kind of doing these mini trilogies inside of the overall MCU in this case. And then, of course, you've got the stuff on Loki with Kang the Conqueror and all this other stuff going on. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly where Marvel's going in the long run right now, because they've got just so many things happening here, and here. I got a feeling eventually we're going to get them all tied together. But until then, it's just kind of like, well, we just have to wait and see. But I'm excited for all these. The I Am Groot show too is probably going to be shorts. I'd say for mostly geared toward children, which is fine. But Baby Groot is going to be the star of this, so that's going to be a big hook for adults as well. And then, of course, Ironheart. Definitely no need to shy away from that character, because obviously she's going to make her appearance in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever and getting her own series after that.
Wasn't there an Ironheart? Because I'm trying to think, one of the many different re-showings of Iron Man they did this one where it was just this black girl who took up the mantle of Iron Man. I can't remember if she went by Ironheart. I want to say she fucking did, but I'm not mistaken. I do remember seeing it. I just can't remember what it was.
And not, this is my personal hard drive, but I'm just showing you guys too. And let's not forget that there's some other stuff that's coming out here as well that they have not put on here yet. Obviously, Sony is bringing out Morbius next year. And then, of course, after that, they've got their Into the Spider-Verse sequel that they're going to be doing as well with Miles Morales. So we'll get more of him and Spider-Gwen, most likely. We're getting Guardians of the Galaxy.
He's going to freaking love that.
It's going to be great. That's next October. And then we've got, of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. We got Kraven the Hunter, another Spider-Man Sony film coming out. A couple untitled Sony films. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 shooting now, which is going to lead into our next topic. And then, of course, Quantum Mania. And we've got Armor Wars with Rhodey. War Machine is also coming out on Disney+. Blade's coming. Fantastic Four. Deadpool 3 is still kind of being figured out right now. Captain America 4. Daredevil's rumored to have a return. The Wakanda series, the Okoye series, the Mutants. It's going to be crazy. Venom 3. It's going to be nuts at some point. There's just so much to do and talk about when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward, and I think this is just the start of it. And I was excited to hear all these. But
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think Kraven is going to tie or come out before or after the next Spider-Man game?
The next Spider-Man game? Well, Kraven is coming out early 2023. If that next Spider-Man game is next year, it'll be out before the movie. But I don't know what the release date is.
I'm assuming it could help introduce people to Kraven. So,
well, there was a few people speculating, because we already know Aaron Taylor Johnson, the guy who played Quicksilver in the MCU before he died in Age of Ultron. He will be Kraven the Hunter in the Sony world. So we already know that he was cast. The speculation going around was, why was he cast so soon? Now, granted, that movie will probably have to be filmed in early 2022 to make its release date if it hasn't already begun filming already. But many people speculated, because we heard about this months ago. Could he be making an appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home, which we just got the trailer to? And if you want to check out my trailer reaction for that, it's also here on the channel right now. And if Brandon wants to talk about his thoughts on it right now, he can too. Yeah, it was great. I thought it was a great trailer. But with all the villains and stuff that have now been confirmed with Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, Lizard, and Electro, and I still think there's some surprises that trailer did not tell us about.
Obviously.
And I can leave those to your imagination. And I've talked about them all the time. What's that? Bless you.
Yeah.
But so Kraven the Hunter, Venom, Daredevil, whatever. Goodness. Totally required. Sorry, but anyway. So I mean, there's always that possibility. But all this stuff. I know, right? But anyway, yeah. So the real question here is, though, guys, what do you guys think about all these Disney Plus Day, news items that came out from Marvel? What about the Pinocchio movie with Tom Hanks?
I'm actually
Dale's Rescue Rangers. Yeah, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. That's another one. I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff that came out that they announced as well. I think even Will Smith and Chris Hemsworth are getting National Geographic series as well.
Oh, that's
Well, I think Will Smith is like traveling the world, and I think Chris Hemsworth is doing some like extreme challenges and things like that. So that could be some good shows as well. But all sorts of stuff they were announced, and I thought that was a good day in regard. But at the same time, bit of a bummer. They announced some stuff, but we really didn't see a whole lot. So it had its ups and its downs. All right, speaking of Marvel, let's get into our next topic, and that is, of course, this week, Sylvester Stallone came out and basically confirmed that he is reprising his role as Stakar in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is the picture he released on social media, and he just got done voicing King Shark for director James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, and of course James Gunn is also directing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and of course Sylvester Stallone was in Volume 2, and he kind of, at the end of the movie, you see him with the original Guardians of the Galaxy from the comics. So could we possibly be getting that whole team back? But if nothing else, we're definitely getting the Ravager himself, Stakar, back in the MCU. Any thoughts on this?
I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is one of my most anticipated MCU films coming out in 2023. How it ties in with the greater MCU is another question at this point. We're getting Adam Warlock in this movie, and I can't wait to see what Sylvester Stallone has in store as well. But looking good here, a little bit of different costume than what he had, a little bit more. It was blue for sure. I think he wore more red. The Ravengers more some more red than the other ones, more maroon or something.
They had
like
more like I would say like a burgundy or maroon color red.
I mean, you could see the Ravengers patch right there, so it's definitely looking like it is coming together. That filming is currently going on as we speak for Volume 3, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what that movie has in store for us as well. So what are your guys' thoughts, though? Let us know below in the comments section. Let us know what you guys think about Sylvester Stallone coming back for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. All right, with that being said, let's move into the next topic, and that is, of course, comes to us from IGN, and apparently Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wants to be the next James Bond. This is interesting. He wrote on social media, "My grandfather, Peter Maivia, was a Bond villain, and You Only Live Twice with Sean Connery." I did not know that. I'm going to have to go look that up. Apparently, that's what he says. But if so, awesome. I didn't know that. I'll have to go back and check out that movie. But he said it was very, very cool, and I would like to follow in his footsteps and be the next Bond. I don't want to be a villain. You got to be Bond. Now, my first thought with this is, you're not British, dude. Yeah. You can't. Other than that, cool. But he's been lobbying for years, seems like, that he wants to go toe-to-toe with Henry Cavill's Superman on the DC big screen as Black Adam. Could we possibly see Henry Cavill become James Bond and Rock become a villain, even though he says he doesn't want to be a villain? But Henry Cavill's British. Dwayne, you're not. So I just think, I mean, as much as I think it would be a lot of fun to see Dwayne come to this role, it just wouldn't fit. And I don't think it's ever going to happen because of that. But who knows? I've been wrong before. Never say never. Are you a big fan of the James Bond films at all or anything like that?
I don't think I've watched. No. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and be like, oh, I've never seen it. That's a lie, because I have.
I've seen a lot of them, but not all of them. There's too many.
No, I haven't seen all of them. The last one I seen, was it Casino Royale?
It's a great film.
I think Casino Royale is the last one I've ever seen.
And I know No Time to Die, that's currently in theaters. I think it's coming on Blu-ray in early December, too. But it has a bit of controversy surrounding it. But I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a great film. It was definitely a different take on the end of that story, but I'll leave it at that. But if you want to know more about that, we can talk off air. Right, but it was a good movie. I thought it was one of the better of the Daniel Craig Bonds. Casino Royale, Skyfall, and No Time to Die were my three favorites of the five he did.
Nope. I've never seen Skyfall.
Skyfall's great too. The last one
I've seen was Casino Royale.
Well, definitely watch Casino, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall. Spectre is probably the worst one out of the five, and then this one. But I've seen all of them since Pierce Brosnan. That was my James Bond. It was about 1996 when the GoldenEye Nintendo 64 video game came out. That was my James Bond. And if they ever re-release that on Nintendo Switch, I'm buying that game. But
brother, I played the out of GoldenEye.
I mean, it probably would, graphics-wise, probably would be terrible now.
But nostalgia.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, though.
I don't know, man. They updated, like, Mario Kart and all that. I'm pretty sure they could probably do an update for...
True. They also updated Grand Theft Auto, which I bought, but at the same time, I'm hearing it's got a lot of glitchy problems with it. So
No shit.
I'm worried about playing it, even though I love those 3 games. But now I'm kind of like, I hope they put some patches in there or something.
They'll patch some of that shit.
Because it's like, man, those are some great games, and I hate to think that I just wasted my money on the trilogy for no reason. But that being said, though, I think The Rock as James Bond, while could be good, some good action, unless he's a villain, I just don't think it's going to work. But what do you guys think? Do you guys want to see Dwayne The Rock Johnson as the next James Bond? I personally just don't think it fits, and I think a lot of people will probably agree with me. But comment below and let us know what you guys think. All right, the next story I wanted to talk about was something I wanted to get your opinion on because you're the big video gamer out of the two of us. I mean, we both like them, but you play them more than I do. But apparently this week, which we already knew it was coming, but we received a first look at the new Paramount Plus series, Halo. It is live action and is going to be coming to the streaming service in 2022. They gave us a little bit of a teaser, just kind of with Master Chief suiting up, and this was kind of the big reveal at the end of the little sneak peek. Not a whole lot about the stories or anything like that. I personally don't know a whole lot about Halo, the story, or the video game, but I didn't know if you maybe would have thoughts on this. You looking forward to it?
I played Halo 3?
Question mark? I don't even remember if you have an Xbox.
I'm trying to think about what I did. I used to have a 360.
Okay, I got you.
I bought it before I bought my PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember when it was.
Well, I always thought this would make a great movie. I honestly did. I didn't realize
Halo's
it was coming out.
Great. It's good for that. If I'm not mistaken, it used to be Bungie that had Halo. And that's when I played.
And a couple other shots here I didn't see, so cool.
It's dope. The whole mystery behind Master Chief is dope. I remember when he had his fucking helmet off and the internet fucking exploded.
For the series or the game?
The game. No one has ever seen his face.
Because they showed a clip, like I said, this is kind of some photos from the clip, and he was shown putting the helmet on from behind, but you don't see his face.
You never see his fucking face.
So that's probably a good thing. I mean, this is really all you need right here. So let's hope they kind of stick to that.
And it's a very intriguing story. Don't get me wrong. But I would like to see it.
I mean, they've done well. I mean, I know video game movies, especially, have
some of them are
about being bad.
A game like Halo, if done right, if you get here's the thing. It's like with comic book movies, right?
Yeah, they used to be bad too.
If you get the people that are involved with the source material, what, bud?
Nothing. I'll just on you.
Jesus.
That's staying in now.
Yeah.
I was going to edit it out, but not now. All right. What's up, Dad? Cool. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted. All right, Dad. Do your thing. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Anyway.
The Halo series.
With movies in general that come from an outside source, whether it be comic book movies or video game adaptations to movies. Now, let's be honest. Not very.
I speak words.
Yeah, not very many, especially video game to movies work out well. Case in point, although it's probably a guilty pleasure of mine,
you're gonna say it, ain't you?
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, not me. I thought that movie was terrible.
It was horrible.
Hopefully, Chris Pratt can do it justice in the animated movie coming out.
And Double Dragon. Remember that movie?
Oh wow, that's been a while. Well, Street Fighter.
That's
the one. That's a guilty pleasure of mine. I thought it was okay.
So
Mortal Kombat was obviously great. And
but Mortal Kombat has had more shots at it to get it right too. So.
Yeah, true.
Because let's be honest, what was it? Mortal Kombat. Was it Resurrection? Or what's it?
Oh, you're talking about the animated film?
No. How many Mortal Kombat movies is there?
Mortal Kombat Annihilation was
Annihilation.
Thinking of the second one. Yeah, that wasn't the greatest.
And it had two of my favorite characters in it, and they were only in it for a short amount of time.
Let me guess, Johnny Cage got destroyed.
Yeah, Cyrex and Noob Saibot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I thought it was Smoke, or maybe it was.
Oh, it's Smoke. Well, it's Smoke, Noob Saibot. Same.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I think
conversation with you. Anyway,
for another video. Yeah.
But if you get the people involved with the source material, it will always be better. And that's what a lot of these movie companies didn't do. They just were like, "Oh, this game's popular. Let's make a movie." So then it was shit.
Yeah.
There's no reason why if Super Mario Bros. A Goomba should have looked the way a Goomba did. Right?
Yeah, and that's why I think animation that they're doing now for Mario is the right route. I don't think a live action version of Mario is probably for the best. Now, Zelda, all that, I think that could be great in live action. Metroid could
Oh
be great in
man,
live action.
Metroid could be great.
It could look
You're
like
right.
this Halo a little bit.
Zelda could be like the new Lord of the Rings in a sense. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to say, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
You
see
get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And take a game like Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny has some of the greatest cutscenes ever.
Yeah.
Case in point, Warcraft. Now,
that movie was
hear me out.
But it was supposed to be like a prequel.
Yeah,
like,
it was supposed to tell. It's supposed to tell the story when Thrall and Viren. I don't want to get into this whole thing with you.
No.
But Thrall is the leader of the Horde. Okay, it's the story of how he got to that point.
Right? And that's where the series ended. Sadly,
and Viren is the leader of the Alliance, the king. But there's this whole interesting story that takes place with them both before we get to that point, right?
Right.
In the game, you get little snippets of this stuff, and it's awesome. It really is. Like Warcraft does amazing cinematics. I know Blizzard is in a lot of shit right now, but that's not the point. Their cinematic game is on point. Okay.
Right.
But it's what intrigued me to even play Warcraft was the cinematics. All right. Now I started playing around the Burning Crusade. Like a couple months after Burning Crusade came out. But what caught my attention was the cutscene alone in Burning Crusade. Okay. And then with a game like that, where it is so deep in lore, you had the perfect opportunity to start a whole series of a franchise essentially with these movies, and they just drop the ball.
Yeah, I mean, if you do things right, I mean, like a lot of people would argue that the Resident Evil movies were not well done. They're guilty pleasures because they're fun shoot 'em ups. Yeah. But the first film was probably the best one when it comes to the horror element of it.
Yeah.
Now they do have a reboot of it coming out called Welcome to Raccoon City, I believe, at the end of this month or whatnot.
Case in point to Monster Hunter. Now you've played Monster Hunter.
That was a good little movie, though. I watched it.
It was. It wasn't bad.
May not be the best video game movie, sure.
Here's the thing, though.
It's fun.
No, because there is no lore really in Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter really doesn't have a fucking story. So to take that and then build a story around it, it's kind of a blank slate. Yeah, you have the monsters, and they're a huge part of Monster Hunter. Obviously, hence the name. But there really isn't a lore outside of New World. Let's go there.
Go explore, kill some monsters.
The monsters are what made that story. Like, we played Monster Hunter. You didn't find out you never fucking found out. We didn't find out until the end, going into the freaking, the expansion of why Nergigante was actually there. He was set to be this bad guy. In reality, he was the thing that kept things in balance. You know what I'm saying? He was the thing that was like, you're not supposed to be here. So now, in order to not upset the ecosystem, I have to wipe you out.
Right.
He was that check and balance. But we didn't know that going into it. He just showed up and was like, fuck you doing here? You know what I mean? So it was dope when that whole thing came to fruition. Now, I still have not got the chance to watch all of the Monster Hunter movie. I've seen some of it, but there is one on Netflix called The Guild.
It's got a great ending, I thought.
There's a Netflix series called The Guild. Not a series, it's more like an hour or so long, and it was actually really fucking good. It takes place with, so you remember at the beginning of Monster Hunter when you play, the kid that sits down and talks to you?
Yeah.
He's the fiery first year or whatever he is. It's his story leading up to that point.
Right.
And it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So again, if you take the source material that you have, like I said with Monster Hunter, there really wasn't any. So they built a story around it, which was dope.
Right.
But most of these, you have that. Most of these games, you have that source material you can use. And if you use it, it could turn out great.
I honestly think it's kind of, because like I said earlier, comic book films used to be considered the
Abysmal.
worst. Yeah, abysmal. Until Blade came around, and then of course, X-Men and all that sort of stuff kind of got the ball rolling. But I think with video game movies, it's going to take that right formula, getting it right a few times, building off of that formula, and continuing to keep it fresh. And that's when they'll start to hit their stride, and they could become the next popular genre because it's ripe with storytelling. It's just getting it right.
Yeah, it's just getting it right. That's the thing, getting it right. And Marvel has gotten a lot of it right. Don't get me wrong. Have they taken liberties with some stuff? Yeah, but have they also taken some liberties with some stuff? Yeah.
You have
but
to.
Not enough for me to go, well, this is shit.
You know what I mean? And there's some people be like, "Oh, Eternals was the worst movie." No. I direct you to Thor: The Dark World and Iron Man 3.
Hey,
but
man.
I like those films though. You know, but
the only thing I don't like about Iron Man 3 was the Mandarin, and I told you this before. I hated that because I watched the cartoon series, and the Mandarin was an actual fucking person.
Yeah. Well, watch Shang-Chi.
I know.
But they redeem it a bit, so it's not so bad. But
you gotta watch it. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Disney Plus Day, that was released on Disney Plus Day. Go check it out. With that being said, though, what do you guys think about the fact that Halo is getting its own TV series on Paramount Plus in 2022? We don't have an exact release date. We just know the year. So comment below and let us know your thoughts on that. All right. Next item up for topic here is apparently The Matrix Resurrections is coming out December 22nd, I believe, in theaters and on HBOMax. And they released a new poster for it. Not a new trailer. We already got one of those, but that doesn't necessarily mean a trailer won't be coming in the next few days or weeks or whatever it might be leading up to the release. But I thought this was a cool little poster to check out here. We get a look at the younger Morpheus. Why they didn't bring back Lawrence Fishburne, I'm not sure just yet. I think we'll have to wait and see what the film does to address that. Could he maybe show up as a cameo or a post-credit scene for a future film? Maybe. But clearly this is going to... It's a continuation of the first three films. Obviously, hence the title Resurrections, since Neo and Trinity died at the end of Revolutions. Which, by the way, Reloaded Revolutions, I know a lot of people don't care for. Personally, I like them. They're not as good as the...
like the weirdest shit.
I know. I will fully acknowledge, though, they're not as good as the original Matrix movie. Clearly. And I hope, as the trailer indicates, that this movie will take place more in the world of the Matrix and not so much in the real world like Revolutions and Reloaded did. I think that's partially why a lot of people didn't like it. So I'm hoping maybe it'll kind of redeem themselves here. So I'm looking forward to this. Are you a fan of these films at all?
So, I don't know. I have a weird relationship with the Matrix movies.
Right.
I do.
So a lot of people do. So
I like the first one, but it's the first one. You know what I mean? It was an interesting concept. It was a cool concept. But then they kind of lost me with with Revolutions, and I didn't like the twin siren thing. I don't know what the fuck you want to call them. I'm talking about the blonde hair dreadlock.
Oh yeah, the guys who kept kind of morphing.
Yeah,
out,
that was fucking weird.
The freeway sequence though was great.
Was dope. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
dope.
Yeah. Now the Agent Smith fight in Reloaded, while great at the time, you kind of go back and look at it now, and the Agent Smiths were very cartoon animated. So it's the same with some of the Revolutions fight in the rain, but that's the way I thought Superman should have been at the time before we got a true Superman film in Man of Steel, in my opinion. But I mean, there were things that movie did that was really good. The series as a whole. I'm hoping we get back to some of that nostalgia of the first film, which it appears like it's going to be. But I also worry that this is just going to end up being John Wick in the Matrix, because he looks just like John Wick. I mean, facial hair, long hair, the whole nine, which is fine. That's just kind of
John Wick now. Matrix. That'd be dope.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. I love John Wick, but I'm interested to see what the story is here. How they're going. I know in the original series, the three films, they talked about how the one has kind of been in the Matrix and has tried to save the mankind over and over and over again. So maybe this is just kind of another iteration of the one coming back. I don't know how they're going to work this. Again, I'm a little fuzzy on my details. I need to go back and watch these movies before the fourth one hits theaters this December. But I'm looking forward to this. The real question, though, guys, what do you guys think about the Matrix Resurrections? Are you guys looking forward to this? Are you guys kind of like, really, we're milking that cow again? Comment below. Let us know what you guys think about it. All right, so this next one I titled "Too Old for This Shit." So
brother,
because 1998 was the last time we saw Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover. And back then, that was 23 years ago. Think about that. Man, I feel old now. But 23 years ago, they were claiming they're too old for this S back then. Well, apparently we're still going to get this Lethal Weapon 5 film. Mel Gibson is saying that he is now going to direct the film after original director Richard Donner passed away, the director of Superman with Christopher Reeve. He was the director of the original 4 films, but according to Mel Gibson, he wants to continue with this film and to honor Richard Donner and finish the work that he was going to do. And apparently Mel Gibson and Danny Glover are both set to return. Mel Gibson is now 65 years old and Danny Glover is 75 years old. Can this work and do we need it? That's the question. Now, Grant, to play devil's advocate here, though, I tend to agree with you. I don't know if we need it. But Clint Eastwood is in his 90s, still doing kick-ass movies.
I get that.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it can't work, but you got to figure these guys are long into retirement in the series at this point. At the end of 4, I thought it just ended in such a good way. The family was all together. They all had grandkids. I think Mel Gibson became a father at the beginning of that movie. So Riggs and Murtaugh, obviously they tried a TV series that lasted a little bit, and then they fired the actor who played Riggs, and it just kind of went downhill after that. So I don't know if we need this. I love those first 4 movies. I don't know if we need a 5. Do you care for those movies at all?
I mean, I liked them for the time. Don't get me wrong, but
and not only that, do buddy cop movies work now?
No.
I mean, it seems like, occasionally you might get one. I know Jason Momoa and Batista has talked about wanting to do one together, which apparently there's a bidding war in Hollywood over that, project. But
really?
Yeah, apparently Batista, Jason Momoa, really, really tight. They want to do something together.
I don't.
Could be cool.
No, don't lie.
Don't lie. I don't know, man. It depends on what. I mean, it's kind of like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. I saw Red Notice this last weekend. I thought
good though.
I liked it, but to me, it screamed Netflix movie. To me,
yeah, because it was.
Well, yes, but originally it wasn't supposed to be. I don't know if the pandemic played a whole lot into that, but anyway, it eventually went to Netflix. So I don't know how well it would have played in theaters. Now, I do think, from what I understand, this Lethal Weapon 5 could be released directly to a streaming service. So if that's the case, I understand maybe not putting it in a theater because I don't know how it's going to do. But I mean, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Not only that, I don't know if Joe Pesci would want to come back because he's kind of particular about what roles he comes back to do anymore. But if they do come back, they got to get Rene Russo back, who has been most recently in the Avengers and Thor as Thor's mother, she played, Mel Gibson's wife in the film. So, I'm intrigued, but I'm not going to lie. Don't think it's going to be very good. But the real question of what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Lethal Weapon 5 will be any good? Do you guys want to see this? Or do you think Mel Gibson probably just needs to go away? I know he's got a lot of controversy surrounding him as well. Please let us know below. Let us know what you guys think. All right. So another kind of controversial topic going around right now. Not really too bad, but
you gotta stop with these controversial.
I'm trying to avoid them doing it, but at some point you can't avoid certain things if you're going to talk about movie news. Apparently, Harry Potter is getting a reunion episode celebrating the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone for those in the UK. Apparently this week marks that anniversary, and they're going to be getting a reunion show on January 1st, 2022. The original 3 actors, Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and of course Emma Watson, are going to be returning to this episode, series, whatever it might be. HBOMax has kind of got this reunion thing going on. They did Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They just got done with the Friends reunion, and now Harry Potter on their 20th anniversary, which is hard to believe. Again, I feel old. 20 years since this original movie came out. It's been 10 years since the finale of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 was released. Now, could this? I've been speculating for a while, and I even did a show on this channel discussing the possibility of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is a Broadway play. Could that possibly be a continuation moving forward with Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint returning as their iconic characters here now that they are older and they be of age to fit that role now, since that play takes place after the original Harry Potter films. But the controversial part of this is J.K. Rowling, the writer of the novels, will not be in this reunion other than archive footage, because apparently she's been canceled by culture because of some comments she made about certain things. But again, I don't want to get into that here. But there's a lot of people who are not interested in it because she's not allowed, because she's kind of not in the good graces of the public opinion right now. That kind of makes my theory of whether or not they make the Cursed Child movie ever a thing, because you would think that she would have to at least sign off on that, being this is kind of her property. But at the same time, you never say never. If this kind of is a hit and the audience is there, the Fantastic Beasts movies are not performing as well as a lot of people would hope. So I'm
Which
just
is
saying,
bad, because like I like the first one.
yeah, a lot of that has to do with another controversy, and that's Johnny Depp. Which he was in the end of the first one. He was mostly in the second one. He was supposed to be in all of them, but they got rid of him with the Pirates and that film. And now apparently the actor who was in Rogue One, who played Jyn Erso's father, Galen, can't remember his name. He's going to be the replacement. So again, I like those films. They're starting to grow on me a little bit after the second one, but they're not as successful as the Harry Potter franchise. To me, Harry Potter is about Harry Potter, and you could do, like I said, the Cursed Child based on his kids going to Hogwarts, and maybe they could be teachers. I think that's the route you take if you're a Harry Potter fan. If you're a Harry Potter filmmaker, that's what you got to do. And Christopher Columbus, or Chris Columbus, I don't know if, I guess Christopher's his full name, but Christopher Columbus sounds weird because the explorer.
Yeah.
But another controversy. But anyway, Chris Columbus, the director of the Sorcerer's Stone, has said he is wanting to come back and direct another Harry Potter film to maybe set up a new series, maybe with the Cursed Child. So, any thoughts on Harry Potter? Are you a fan of the series at all?
Not really.
Not really a big fan?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I know some people who are huge fans, like Laura. She's a huge fan of Harry Potter.
I didn't used to be. It took me till about movie 4, and I started to get into them, and I was like, all right. And then I became a big fan. But
no, see, it's like for me, I wasn't really into Harry Potter like that. I don't get me wrong. I've seen them, but I guess I threw my hat in with the whole Lord of the Rings thing. So
okay, and I like Lord of the Rings too. And
that was my fantasy, love, I guess you want to call it, like what I fell into more of. So
quick side question: Hobbit movies, good or bad in your opinion?
I like the Hobbit movies.
Okay, I do too. So but there's some people who think it's not really as good, but I would agree it's probably not as good as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But
no, but
still good in their own right.
The Desolation of Smaug was. All right, I'm gonna tell you what happened.
Battle of the Five Armies is the ones I don't remember the most.
I
like them, but it's all payoff. There's no, because it's like one big movie cut in half. But
so in the Desolation of Smaug, the whole time dwarves are trying to get to where they're trying to get to, with that damn dragon, right?
Voiced by Doctor Strange.
We get to the damn dragon, okay, and I'm like, okay, this is about to be an epic fight scene. No, he fucking flies off. I was so mad.
Oh, at the cliffhanger?
Yeah. I was so mad. Because Deb had already seen it. All right.
She knew it was coming.
My whole afternoon is me spent watching this movie.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I come out of the bedroom, and the look on my face, and she just starts laughing. I was like, "Oh, that shit!" And he fucking flew off.
And not only that, he flew off, destroyed parts of the town, and then gets immediately murdered in the next one. So like,
what the hell?
Now, don't get me wrong. I really like the back and forth between him and Bilbo when they're in the cavern. I really like that. But again, there's not much on the action side of things, really. No. And he kind of fought with the dwarves a little bit there. But at the same time,
I thought the dwarves were hilarious throughout the
movie. They were a lot of fun. And Thorin Oakenshield, I liked his progression. He was basically the main character from the Lord. I'm gonna get killed online for that.
It was dope.
But
it was one of my favorites. And I like the what's it, Return of the King?
Yeah, it's
like that
considered one of the best. Won a lot of Academy Awards. Did you also know that they're doing an Amazon series on the Lord of the Rings?
Oh no,
It's a prequel series. It's going to be set in the Second Age, I believe, is what it was.
cool.
So before all the Hobbit films and everything. So it could be interesting. They're spending a boatload of money on it, by the way.
For sure.
So I think it's 2022 as well. I'm not positive, but I'll have to look that up for you. But yeah, definitely. But Harry Potter, though, to get back to the topic, not a fan though as much as really.
No, not as much. And I'm not saying I didn't like them or I didn't watch them. I did watch them. I did like them. But I think for me, if I'm going to, the first one was my favorite, because it was the first.
Really?
And the one is it Deathly Hallows, one with Voldemort for the first time?
For the first time, he appeared at the end of Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire.
In his human form.
Yeah.
Now, he kind of had other appearances, like, with other actors and things like that. But Ralph Fiennes, however you say his name, his first full appearance was at the end of Goblet of Fire, where he killed Cedric Diggory, played by the current Batman, Robert Pattinson. So, yes, it's interesting to think about. That's where he's come from Twilight to Harry Potter, now Batman. But yeah, for me, I think the best Harry Potter film that I at the time was the one number 6. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but to me, it was very dark. And it was at the very end is the one where Dumbledore died.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, to me that was just
Chamber of Secrets.
No, that was 2. It was Chamber of Secrets, Prisoners of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix.
Okay,
the Half-Blood Prince. That's my favorite. Yeah,
Okay.
Half-Blood Prince, and then the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. Took a second, but I got there. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't a fan of the movies at first either, because I used to go to a church who said, "Don't ever touch the Harry Potter movies. Ban the Harry Potter movies. Don't go see them." And I was at the time I was like, okay, there must be something evil about these things. But then I watched them, and I was like, this is just fantasy. It's not, and some church, I understand, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's not, to me, it's as long as you take it in good fun. It's no worse than the Jedi and the Sith and Star Wars or anything like that, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy them, and I think they're great. And like I said, do you agree with at least the fact that if they were to continue this franchise, maybe the Harry Potter characters coming back now that they're older as maybe teachers or something along that line?
I guess, and I'm going to attribute this in this weird way, but follow me here. So for me, I see it a lot like I see in the Naruto series. After it ended, Naruto becoming Hokage, which was, always the ending you wanted. After that, there's the son of Baruto, which is Naruto's son. And now it's him growing up with his father being the Hokage, but also with the stigma his father had a demon trapped inside of him for fucking ever.
Nice.
One he learned to control and eventually worked with and all those other shit.
Yeah, anyway. Sorry.
But so I guess in some weird way I could see what you're saying. Like, oh yeah, okay, we go from Harry Potter now. This is the story of his son and growing up in that shadow of
and then you introduce a new generation, plus you tell new stories with new children, and you intersplice the old Harry Potter actors and characters along with it to kind of get it that extra.
But they're not the main focus. Like I
right.
said, in Naruto, Naruto is there obviously because he is the Hokage, but he's not the main focus in the story. Yes, there's some scenes where he's involved in certain things. Yes, but he's not the main focus anymore. It's more or less the story of his son now.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that's probably the best way. I mean, you make Harry like the new headmaster of Hogwarts, or and then you continue their stories through their children, and then maybe you even get to see their fate at some point as well. Now, again, whether or not J.K. Rowling decides to come back and write that, or give Warner Brothers the freedom to write their own story, I highly doubt that.
I highly doubt that, because if you mess that up, that's what I mean.
But then again, J.K. Rowling hasn't been shy about taking that dump truck full of money for some, like the Harry or the Fantastic Beasts stuff. But again, right now it's just kind of politically charged between J.K. Rowling and the studios, and then public opinion, all that stuff. Not only that, you'd have to get back Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson. Emma Watson would probably be the toughest to get back, being she's got options. And I think Daniel Radcliffe also has been doing pretty well on his own, but Rupert Grint hasn't been much of anything.
No, but Daniel Radcliffe he's been in a lot of things.
Emma Watson is, I know for sure, but I haven't seen a whole lot of Daniel Radcliffe stuff, but I'm sure he's got some other opportunities going on as well.
Yes, there's been some good movies with him out, and it's kind of weird to see, because there's this one where he's kind of his badass in a sense. I don't know if he is a hitman or what, but
That'd be interesting.
if I can find it, I'll have to show it to you. It's
Okay.
this little clip. It was pretty dope.
Send me a link or let me know the title. But the real question here is, though, guys, what do you guys think about the Harry Potter reunion happening on HBO Max January 1st of 2022? Are you excited for it, or do you not care if there's no J.K. Rowling? Please comment below and let us know your thoughts on that. All right, so for the last bit of movie news I want to cover, I wanted to get into a little bit of a discussion here with Brandon about the news of Tom Holland, our current Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, may be Spider-Man no more after Spider-Man No Way Home. I hope this isn't true, but it's very possible because he's made some recent comments, and apparently the film executives at Sony especially want to keep Tom Holland to keep playing Spider-Man for the next 100 years, according to Amy Pascal, the head honcho at Sony Pictures. But he's not convinced. He was quoted as saying, maybe it's time for me to move on. Maybe what's best for Spider-Man is that they do a Miles Morales film. If I'm playing Spider-Man into my 30s, I've done something wrong. Now, I don't necessarily think that there's a problem with playing Spider-Man in your 30s. To be quite, he's 25 now. He don't look 25. Why is he saying this? I have some reasons why I think that this could be what's going on here. A lot of times actors will say these certain things when it comes time to re-up and renegotiate their current deal. And as of right now, Spider-Man No Way Home is his final deal, or his final film, I should say, on the deal for the current deal he's under. Now, he may have another team-up film with the Avengers in the MCU, which could be Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness coming up next May if he's already filmed it. So his obligation may be fulfilled at this point. So he could be using it as a negotiation tactic to get a bigger payday to re-up as Spider-Man for another set of films. Or he could, along the negotiating tactics side of things, perhaps he just wants to stay in the MCU and doesn't want to play Spider-Man outside of it and only in the Sony world. And maybe he's using it as a negotiating tactic to kind of get Sony to re-up with Disney and to extend their deal. That's a possibility. Or he could be burnt out and just needs a break. I mean, he's 25 years old. He's got a lot of other projects he probably wants to do in his life. We'll see how Uncharted goes later next year. But I mean, he's probably got a lot of other things he wants to do besides just Spider-Man. And since 2016, that's what he's been known as. And sadly, if it's kind of like the James Bond role, Spider-Man may be what he's known for the rest of his adult life. Now, personally, I think there was a rumor going around this week, which I've mentioned a little bit in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer reaction that I did here on the channel, that the rumor going around is that they've already decided on a deal to do another trilogy of movies with Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and then do some seasons on Disney Plus in between films. So you get a film 1 year, maybe you get a series or a season, and then you get another film and another season and another film following Tom Holland's character. And most likely the rumor is right now he'd be in college at that point, since we've now seen him in high school for 3 films. I personally would love to see, as long as Tom Holland's up for it, and I believe he said in multiple interviews in the past that he'd be willing and wants to play Spider-Man for as long as he can. Granted, you know, newsflash, actor wants work, right? So he's going to say that, right? But maybe deep down, he kind of just wants to step away and take a break. And if that's the case, he's entitled to that too. He's been working for a long, long time here as the Spider-Man character. I honestly feel like this deal is going to get done at some point here, if it's not done already. Why he's coming out and saying this right before the release of the movie, it feels to me like a negotiating tactic, because he knows this is going to be a big success at the box office. This is going to be probably the biggest Spider-Man film they've ever put together, not just with the fact that all the characters are going to have in this movie, but from overall popularity and box office, you name it, it's going to be successful. So, do you think that this Spider-Man No Way Home movie is going to be the last time we see Tom Holland, or is this all just blowing smoke right now?
I don't know. I mean, there's the number is he may be burnt out. I mean, it's not like that's unheard of.
Right.
It's kind of like the whole. Oh, I'm trying. Like I at this point, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is most known for what? At this point,
Matrix, John Wick, Dude, Where's My, or not Dude, Where's My Car?
Wow.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That was terrible. But anyway, go on.
Wow.
Speed. But
yeah, but as of late, it's always
John Wick.
Nobody even calls him Keanu Reeves anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I'm
saying? You know, the boogeyman. Yeah.
Yeah. So it may be one of those things where it's like you got to go. Do I really want to be known as Spider-Man my entire life? You know what I mean?
I think he's beyond that point already.
Yeah.
I mean, ask Daniel Craig how that's going after James Bond. Pierce Brosnan too.
He did get Uncharted, which is another video game movie, but it's like a male version of fucking Tomb Raider.
And as we discussed earlier, some video game movies are not successful. So we'll see how it goes. But they signed him for that too because he's so young, so he can become in that series for a long time to come. So the same lines with Spider-Man. So I personally want to see Spider-Man because we've seen movies at nauseum of Spider-Man in high school. We saw a little bit of him in college in the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire series, but we've never seen him full-blown in college. We've never seen him full-blown as an adult. Can we see him maybe play the next 5 or 6 films and then maybe transition into a Miles Morales after 3 more films or something at least, and then give that the proper setup it deserves as well, which I do think a live-action Miles Morales is probably coming down the line at some point. Not only that, they I know you ain't seen Venom, but they've kind of already teased that encounter. So are you going to do that without Tom Holland, your most popular Spider-Man? That sounds to me ridiculous. So this has got to be a negotiation tactic. That's just the way I look at it, though. So the real question, though, guys, what do you guys think about the fact that Spider-Man may not be anymore? The old comic book storyline was Spider-Man no more. Is Tom Holland done as Spider-Man after No Way Home? Let us know what you guys think about all of that. All right, so with that being said, let's move on to our next topic that we want to discuss here. My Funko Pops and Collectibles videos is a weekly segment that I like to do here on the channel. I don't always get to do it weekly like I prefer, but at the same time, whenever I do get a chance to do them, I like to do them. So this week, I thought it would be fun to discuss the Funko Pops for Ghostbusters, because we've got the Ghostbusters Afterlife film coming to theaters this upcoming weekend. So I wanted to kind of share with you guys my Ghostbusters collection. So let's go and take a look at that. So here are the Ghostbusters that I have, all of them in force here. You got Egon, Spangler, what's the rest of them? I can't remember. Stance and Winston. They're all, from the classic original, Ghostbusters movies here, obviously. The 1980s classic film. And now we've got, obviously we had Ghostbusters 2. And now there's a video game that was out that I know Dan Aykroyd had talked about how he viewed the video game was Ghostbusters 3 in his eyes, that they never really got to make since the actor who played Egon passed away. But now we're getting Ghostbusters Afterlife in theaters this coming weekend, and I'm personally excited about this movie. I've been hearing nothing but good things about it. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. There's been a few critics who come out and said, whoa, that wasn't very good. But I think if you're going to do another Ghostbusters movie, this is probably the best way to do it. Kind of along the lines of the Harry Potter conversation we just had. Ghostbusters is at a place where the main core actors from the original movie are getting a little older. They're not able to do these roles anymore. But I do feel like we're still going to maybe get the surviving 3 show up and do some ghost busting in this movie. So that's going to be a thing. But at the same time, they're setting this up with the younger generation. Egon's grandchild here, his granddaughter, is going to be the main focus of this film, along with Paul Rudd. And of course, Egon's wife, Janine, I believe is what they're, hinting at in the trailer, that Janine, the receptionist from the old Ghostbusters film, ended up marrying Egon and having these kids and grandkids. So I think that's where they're going to take this. But overall, I think it's got a lot of story potential. And I'm looking forward to it. And of course, I like these Funko Pops just because as a kid, I was a big Ghostbusters fan. I remember one time when I was in swim lessons, and I know it's kind of going off of a tangent here, but I was always afraid to jump in the water. I was a big scaredy cat as a kid. So my parents bribed me, hey, you jump, into the pool, with lifeguard watching, don't be so scared. We'll go out and get you a Ghostbusters toy. So I got myself a action figure there because I, sucked it up a little bit, for, what I could do to get out of my parents there. A little bit of bribery going on, but hey, sometimes it works. Brandon knows that. He's not in his head. He's a family man. He knows how to bribe the children, right? Come on, man. Do you have any thoughts? Come on, unmute yourself. Do you have any thoughts on the Ghostbusters Afterlife and bribery as a parent? Any thoughts? That went off the rails so fast. But anyway, last time I tell a personal story.
Yeah.
Anyway, he has so many thoughts right now.
Yeah. trying to get him in order
sip
here.
my water.
So, wow. Have I ever bribed my children? Yes. But not by saying, yo, real quick, that lifeguard's over there. You're fine. You jump in the water, get you whatever you want. Never once.
I never learned how to swim, just so you know. So, yeah. But, hey, got that action figure.
Brother.
Yeah. Anyway.
Have I bribed my children? Yes. I have.
Yeah.
But not like that.
Not like that?
It's more or less, hey, if you maintain a clean room for like a week, I'll buy you
they were
something.
paying for the swim lessons. They wanted to get their investment out of it.
Did they though?
Not really.
You literally just said, I still can't swim.
No. Yeah. Now they get my dad though, so he ain't got no room to talk. But anyway, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Let's get on track here. Brother. What are your thoughts on the Funko Pops? Are you excited for the movie?
Yeah, I am actually, because I actually like Ghostbusters. I didn't see the one remake they did, not because I was listening to what everybody was saying. I never watched it.
I never did either, but I heard it's trash.
Yeah, but, and I just never watched it. So super excited about Ghostbusters. I did love the pop stuff. I do like those, but no, I can't wait. I did play the game. It was free for a while on PlayStation.
I ended up getting it on PlayStation 5, so I'm gonna maybe check it out. Since the movie kind of got me a little hyped for it, because like I said, when I heard Dan Aykroyd saying it was basically the third film in the franchise, and they got all the original voice actors to come back to do the voices for the game. So I was like, okay, I'll check it out. You see what they had up their sleeve. If nothing else, I'll watch the YouTube cutscene movie or whatever it is that they usually put online nowadays. But I'm definitely looking forward to this. I hope you guys are too. What do you guys think about the Funko Pop collection? What do you guys think about my horrible swim lesson story? Please let me know all that. I know, right? All right, moving on. We'll get into the next topic here. And of course, that is going to be our Mike's Wrestling Fun Facts and Trivia for the week. We're going to be getting into the final portion of the show. We're going to get into the pro wrestling portion of the video here. And of course, Mike is always, sending in trivia for us to go over here on the channel. And of course, with Survivor Series this Sunday, you never know, because WWE won't promote it basically before this week, because their build for it has been one of the worst in history. You wouldn't even know there was a pay-per-view, but because there is one, apparently, Mike has got yet another Survivor Series trivia for us here. So let's check out this question and see what we can come up with for an answer. So here we go.
All right, so by 1993, the Survivor Series had moved from Thanksgiving night to Thanksgiving Eve, the night before Thanksgiving. That tradition actually started in 1991. In 1995, it would be the first year that the event would be held on a Sunday, and since then, unless I am forgetting something, the event has been held on a Sunday in November ever since, most times around the Thanksgiving holiday. Now, in 1993, one of the big matches that was scheduled to take place featured Bret the Hitman Hart leading a team comprised of his brothers, the Rocket Owen Hart, Keith Hart, and Bruce Hart.
I don't remember.
And they were to go up against a team led by their bitter rival at the time, Jerry the King Lawler, and three men that he would be bringing in as his Knights of the Squared Circle. Now, unfortunately, due to some legal issues that occurred that he was later found innocent of, Lawler, about a week before the event, had to be pulled out of the event. Shawn Michaels wound up taking his place as the team captain, which kind of left the Knights of the Squared Circle thing making no sense whatsoever.
Typical.
Now, my question for you is this. Out of the four names I'm going to give you, who was not one of the Knights of the Squared Circle? Your choices are Barry Horowitz, USWA wrestling star at the time, Jeff Gaylord, the Missouri Tiger,
Don't remember him at all.
Dwayne Gill,
Barely.
and Greg the Hammer Valentine. Now, from what I understand, Eric will be traveling next week for the Thanksgiving holiday, so I will not be doing any trivia next week. Sorry to disappoint our mini fan. But
Singular.
I promise you, I will be back with some more trivia. I'll try not to make them all the softball questions that they have been lately for the guys. But I do want to take this opportunity to wish you all well. I want to wish Brandon and Eric, Chocolate Thunder and the Vanilla Blunter, a very happy and wonderful Thanksgiving. I wish their families happy Thanksgiving as well. And a happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Take care, and I will see you after the Thanksgiving break.
Oh my goodness!
He called you the vanilla blunder.
Yeah. Chocolate Wonder. Is that what he called you?
Chocolate Thunder. Okay,
Chocolate
get
Thunder.
it fucking together, man.
Yeah, sorry, man.
That's my stripper name.
Moving on. Anyway. So.
Oh, we could talk about your.
No, we're moving on. We're done. It's over. For all I know, Mike
dying in a swimming pool.
Mike may only watch this segment. We don't need to let him know about that little nugget. Anyway, so
what
yeah.
are you implying?
Anyway, who did not team with Shawn Michaels in replacement of Jerry Lawler as a member of the Knights of the Squared Circle versus Bret Hart's team at the 1993 Survivor Series? The choices were Barry Horowitz, Jeff Gaylord, Dwayne Gill, or Greg the Hammer Valentine. This sounds like the jobber of all jobber teams teaming up with Jerry the King Lawler. That was the plan. I remember the Jerry the King Lawler versus Bret Hart feud due to the Kiss My Foot match at the time, which was great, by the way. But I don't remember this Survivor Series, probably because of the fact Jerry Lawler was removed from this match due to whatever happened outside of the company. Now, since I look at this as a jobber team, basically, I'm guessing Greg the Hammer Valentine is the one not involved.
Yep.
Thoughts?
I don't know, but he said that Gaylord dude was a
USA.
Yeah.
Something. It was a different organization. Wasn't even a part of WWE. So it's possible. But since I never heard of him, Greg the Hammer Valentine, I would consider him a jobber. The other three, I would. That's the similarities between those three. You know what I'm saying? That's my guess.
Just to be different, I'm gonna go with Barry.
Barry Horowitz. Well, yeah, Mr. Pat myself on the back before Tommaso Ciampa made it famous. That's the way I always looked at it. But anyway, let's go over here and check out the answer here for this trivia question this week. He says in his email, the man who did not have the dishonor of being one of the Knights was Dwayne Gill, a.k.a. Gilbert. I knew the name sounded familiar. All right, Barry Horowitz was the Red Knight. Greg Valentine was the Blue Knight, and Jeff Gaylord was the Black Knight. This would be the one and only known appearance of Gaylord in the WWF. His build was similar to the Ultimate Warrior, and he wrestled under the nickname the Missouri Tiger as a tribute to his college football days at Missouri, where he was an All-American defensive end in 1981, the year I was born. He was a two-time USWA tag champion with Jeff Jarrett and has spent the last couple decades in and out of jail due to attempted bank robberies. So, wow. I mean,
that got dark real quick.
Right quick, yeah. I mean, you hear a lot of these stories about professional wrestlers who end up falling off later in life, but you not necessarily always hear ones who were bank robbers, or at least attempted.
No,
never said if it was successful. But yeah.
Not if he was in and out of jail, he wasn't fucking successful.
You failed. But yeah, hey, I'm sure they failed at the 1993 Survivor Series too. I'm assuming Bret Hart's team won this match.
Yeah.
But even though I don't remember Keith Hart, I remember Bruce. I don't remember Keith. But obviously Owen is the most famous, and then Bulldog being the brother-in-law, and Neidhart and all that stuff as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so anyway, interesting. I did not know that one. So I guess that'll do it for the Survivor Series trivia this year. Probably be getting into something else after the holiday, I'm assuming. So since there won't be any trivia next week, there may not even be a full episode here on the channel for this particular show because I'll be traveling to visit family, as he mentioned.
Here's the thing. I know Mike doesn't know much about it, but Mike, I'm going to pose this question to you. And there's ways you could go about it here when I do this question. Mm-hmm. I know you know a lot about the WWF/WWE, but I wouldn't mind getting some trivia on AEW as far as you can go as members in AEW. Which would challenge you to actually,
There'd be a lot of WWE stuff too.
It could be. It could be.
Ring of Honor. There'd be a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
just to mix it up.
Well, I know at one point when we started the whole Mike's trivia and fun facts and stuff, that he talked about the reason why he didn't do AEW or the last 2 years in WWE because it was too recent. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to add the addendum there of like, hey, it could be
you can go back to these guys going things like a lot of these guys have been all over the place.
True, absolutely.
So
I mean, it doesn't have to be AEW that way. Now, I wouldn't mind some AEW trivia, but I understand it is pretty recent.
They can just be a current AEW wrestler.
Mm-hmm. There could be
And the
New Japan
trivia,
stuff for
yeah.
sure, which I'm definitely not going to know. But yeah, some of the other stuff, or definitely some of the guys' times in WWE, some of those guys I probably know. And there's probably some guys who might even spend time. Like we just got the debut of Jay Lethal in AEW tonight, so that right there, I mean, that's TNA, Impact, whatever it might, So there's a lot of things ROH. There's a lot of things you can get into. So yeah, I'd be down for that if he's got a couple. I know he has Survivor Series planned out. I don't know if he has anything planned after Survivor Series. So definitely something to look at there. So Mike, if you're up for it, we'd like to maybe hear some trivia about some of AEW's current wrestlers and some of their past. So definitely let us know what you think about that. All right, so let's move into our final topic of the night, and that is, of course, AEW recap for this last week. I wasn't able to do a Full Gear review or a Rampage review, so I'm just going to kind of touch on them real quick, and then we'll go over Dynamite this week. I thought Rampage was, as always, a fun little show. At least the main event, in my opinion, saw hopefully the finale of the Orange Cassidy and Matt Hardy feud as they wrestled in a lumberjack match, which I thought they did a decently creative job of it, where Matt Hardy said he would pay off all the lumberjacks if they were to beat up the best friends and everybody in Orange Cassidy right now. So they at least made it. They had a logical reason why the lumberjacks would brawl with each other on the outside. So that I appreciated. And of course, Matt Hardy ends up getting the win here at the end of it. So hopefully that's the end of this feud. It appeared tonight on Dynamite like it could be. We really didn't get a whole lot there. Now, we did have members of the Hardy office and the Butcher and the Blade against Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii. But wasn't Matt and Orange themselves. So I'm hoping that feud's over. I mean, I think you and I both can agree that feud is way beyond its expiration point.
Yeah.
On top of that, we had Jungle Boy defeated Bobby Fish in a good match they set up last week. Jade Cargill defeated Santana Garrett, an NXT talent on AEW television. Dante Martin defeated Arya Davari. So that was interesting. Two hometown guys in this match, so that was fun as well. So, but other than that, Rampage, didn't have a whole lot this week. Again, I want to see them do more with Rampage. We'll see if they do that. And Full Gear, I got it outside of All Out this year. I thought that Full Gear was probably the best pay-per-view of the year outside of All Out. All Out is clearly probably way up here. Full Gear is probably the number 2. Now, granted, for what I saw of Crown Jewel was a pretty good show. WrestleMania was a good show this year for the most part, I thought. It's just everything in between. But for Full Gear, obviously, we got to see a great match to start the show with MJF defeating Darby Allin. A 22-minute match that, for anybody who said that MJF couldn't cut it in the ring, go watch that match. That was a great match. Darby looked good as well in defeat here. But either guy will be fine just moving forward. Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida defeated Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter on the pre-show. Then we had the Lucha Brothers. They defeated FTR to retain their AEW Tag Team Championships. We also got Bryan Danielson defeating Miro in the World Title Eliminator Tournament for another 20-minute match. A great match again. Bryan Danielson is just on top of his game right now. We'll get into Dynamite here in just a second. Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy defeated Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Jungle Boy gets the pinfall victory here over one of the Bucks. They didn't pin Adam Cole, so that's a good thing to do there. But Jungle Boy looked good in the victory here, so they're giving him a little bit of a shine, as they need to be doing with one of their pillars for sure. Cody Rhodes and Pac defeated Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo. The crowd wasn't, other than booing Cody, didn't feel like they were into it as much as some of the other matches, because the one thing Full Gear did was give great matches top to bottom, or at least good matches. None of them were really bad per se, but the problem when that, as good as that is for a pro wrestling show to have good matches top to bottom, there's nowhere to breathe if you're an audience member. And it felt like the place they decided to breathe was the women's championship match, where Britt Baker retained her title against Ty Conti, who they got 15 minutes, so good for that. Ty Conti will get there, but she's still learning, and I think she's doing an okay job. Then, of course, in another brawl here, CM Punk defeated Eddie Kingston. Again, great match, no doubt about that. And of course, we had the Inner Circle defeat American's Top Team as well. And then, of course, in the main event, we got Adam Hangman Page, winning against Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship, and finally paying off that long storyline of, Adam Hangman Page, couldn't get over that hump and get the world title here. It was a 2-year build that they finally paid off, and I think that was done very well. I know a lot of people felt like maybe it should have been done earlier, Brandon included at times kind of wondered if they were ever going to pull the trigger on it, which I totally understand. But of course, with all the stuff that went on with the pandemic, they wanted to be in front of a crowd. Then, of course, his wife got pregnant, and of course, they wanted to, bring him in, together. Brandon's back. Speaking of bringing him back. So anyhow, what's up, buddy? We're about removing the Dynamite.
I went to move something.
He was gone. He was like, bye. This show's off the rails, but hey, we're funded. It's all good. So, anyhow, Adam Hangman Page. No, you're fine. Adam Hangman Page wins the title at Full Gear. Finally, thoughts on that? As long as you collect yourself here.
I don't know what the fuck happened. Anyway, I'm glad it turned out the way it did. Honestly, because we had this conversation months before this. It was the whole question of, if you don't do it now, there's no point in doing it at all. And I'm glad they did it. He looked great. He looked great with the strap on him. I've seen the pictures. I didn't get to watch the pay-per-view, unfortunately, because I was working on damn weekend. But hey, I seen the pictures. I didn't listen to any reviews because I was like, you know what? I'll wait till we get here and then I'll listen to you. And so I'm sad I missed it, but good thing for Paige and good thing for Omega. So now he can go heal up.
Yeah, which he opens the show on Dynamite tonight with that info and stuff, or a little bit. The talk right now is that Kenny Omega is going to have shoulder surgery. He's opted to do that, so he'll probably be out for an extended period of time. But Mox is out right now too, and I know everybody gets on to AEW. Even our Fun Facts and Wrestling Trivia guru Mike has criticized how they signed a lot of talent, tons of talent. Some of them are going to get pushed aside. But here's the thing. What happens right now if WWE loses Roman Reigns to an injury or he gets leukemia, God forbid again? What do they got? They got not much. And they're trying to build Big E, things like that. But AEW has a luxury to where if somebody like a Kenny Omega or Moxley has to take some time off, they have other guys to step right in and fill that main event role. And that's a good problem to have. I understand the criticisms about their signing everybody and their brother. I get it.
It's a good problem to have until you have too many and those guys are there.
And then they get upset. That's for sure. And Brian Cage is kind of one of those who's kind of had their issues with maybe not being used enough.
And here's the thing, though. I don't think he's the only one. I think,
maybe not.
And to say he's vocal about it, it wasn't really him that was vocal.
It was his wife, I believe.
But there may be a lot of guys feel the same way.
Well, even Eddie Kingston mentioned in his promo about how against Punk, he's like, everybody in the back doesn't want to say it, but I ain't afraid. Nobody wants you here. How much of that is true? And how much of that is reality bleeding into the story? I don't know. I hope that's not the case because everybody, when he signed, everybody was like, "Yeah, we're so excited." Of course, they're going to say that. I mean, regardless whether they believe that or not. I hope that's the case. But at the same time, because it obviously does bring some eyes to the product. Some people are going to argue Punk hasn't moved the needle as much as maybe he could, but there for a while it did. They just got to get some better, I don't know about better. They got good storylines, but they got to continue to progress some of these with Punk and things like that as well. And Bryan Danielson took an interesting turn tonight too. So let's get into Dynamite. But again, definitely happy for Adam Hangman Page here for sure. About time. The show opened up with Kenny Omega. Oh, but before we get into that though, one of the things about the main event where Page won the title against Omega, one little subtleties they didn't really. They talked about, but it's kind of been overlooked a bit, is the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks come out at the end of that match. You think they're going to get involved because that's what they've been doing for months now. We've criticized about maybe doing it too much. They're going to get involved. They get on the outside of the ring. Of course, Page had warned them not to get involved beforehand, and they ran in the promo package about how, he wanted the Bucks out there in some of his other matches before, and they wouldn't do it. They didn't think he was ready. They went out there, looked like they were going to get involved. One Buck was on one side of the ring. The other one went on the other side of the ring, and neither one of them got involved, and they just kind of realized and kind of gave his head nod like, it's time. So Dynamite opened up this week with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks coming off of that segment there where they kind of gave their head nod in approval for Adam Hangman Page. And Adam Cole, they were all backstage, the Elite. And Omega said he was disgusted, saying there's things he has to fix and change, and he cannot do it here, though. He asked the Bucks to hold it down while he's gone, but Adam Cole said, "Cleaner, I got this." But Omega told Cole he was only referring to the Bucks, and Nick told Brandon Cutler to stop filming. So the indication here Obviously, is Adam Cole maybe kind of overstepping his bounds in the Elite a little bit already? So Page is or Omega may be out for 5-6 months, whatever it is. So in that time frame, maybe we get a little Adam Cole kind of becoming the pseudo leader here, and maybe when Omega comes back, we get that feud Omega and Adam Cole. Could be great.
Yep.
They're laying that seeds already, and I think that's a good way to go about it. So good little beginning of that story too. Love that little subtlety. Adam Hangman Page then had his celebration in the ring. This was a home run of a segment where Adam Page is AEW's top star, and Bryan Danielson never looked better, in my opinion. It's National Cowboy Shit Day, according to Page. The Dark Order were already in the ring, and John Silver introduced Page, who made his entrance. The fans chanted, "You deserve it," and Page corrected them, saying, "I earned it." The crowd obliged with the chant of saying, "I earned it." Or you earned it. Page said he's usually pretty shy, but now he's the AEW World Champion, so he's going to do what he wants, celebrate National Cowboy Shit Day with everyone. Page said that the AEW World Championship means a lot of responsibility, and his first responsibility is taking on Bryan Danielson. And right on cue, Bryan Danielson's music played, interrupting the celebration, which immediately I thought, interesting timing for a babyface, for sure. Bryan Danielson's music played and he walked out. He congratulated Page, but he's a little surprised and disappointed that it's not Kenny Omega standing across from him. Disappointed, I understand, because he kind of wanted to fight Kenny, but saying surprised threw a little shade at Adam Hangman Page here, so subtle there. Page came back saying that he beat Omega at Full Gear in less than 30 minutes, throwing shade right back at Bryan Danielson for the draw that him and Omega had a few months prior, basically saying, I can beat him, but you couldn't. Bryan Danielson said he didn't come here to start something, but he's going to kick Adam Hangman Page's ass. Bryan Danielson cares about wrestling, unlike Adam Page, who just flaps his gums. When he won the title at WrestleMania, yes, he said WrestleMania here on AEW television, he wrestled the very next day, Danielson said. Page suggested they fight right now, and the crowd chanted yes, but Danielson didn't think Page was ready. He doesn't want Page to use that as an excuse when he beats him. They got in each other's faces and exchanged shoves, and the Dark Order kept them apart. The crowd chanted let them fight, but Bryan Danielson said they wouldn't do that because they knew that if they let it go, that Bryan Danielson was going to beat Page. Page broke free and attacked, but Danielson escaped to the floor as this segment ended. This was a great tease for their upcoming match. I ain't going to lie, though. I saw this, and I'm like, boy, Bryan Danielson turned heel right quick. Clearly, I mean, obviously they want to probably have him playing the heel role in this title match because obviously two baby faces you can do, but doesn't sell as good as a baby face versus a heel. But I mean, they started off playing this off like Bryan Danielson was just going to be this cocky baby face, like I'm better than you, you know, just competitive. But by the end of this, he was definitely acting heelish, especially during this match with Evil Uno coming up and stuff. So abrupt turn.
Shit out of Evil Uno.
Yeah, agreed. I just thought this was very abrupt more than anything. That was my biggest issue with it. It's like, why all of a sudden is he just being a total douche nozzle? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what happened with Bryan Danielson here? But at the same time, he did it great. It was absolutely great. So no knock against Danielson. Definitely pulled it off well. And this is going to be a great match, no doubt about it. Then we had Bryan Danielson defeating Evil Uno, as Brandon said, big time chops there. Uno tried to chop Danielson, but then Danielson just laid him out a few times here too, just not taking any of it here. Danielson landed the Basaku knee is what they called it. It's the running knee, and laid in repeated stomps before locking on the triangle for the referee stoppage here. So Danielson would not let go of the triangle at the end of the here. Aubrey Edwards had to peel him off of him. So again, heelish move. Definitely for sure. And after the match, Tony Schiavone asked Bryan Danielson about the mixed fan reception. Danielson said he came out to congratulate Page, but because of Page's behavior, placing blame to him, he ended up kicking Uno's head in. He's going to take every member of the Dark Order and kick all their heads in. Next week they're in Chicago, so he's going to kick Colt Cabana's head in, so setting up that match for next week. So I guess we're going to get a gauntlet here between Dark Order and Bryan Danielson leading up to this match. My assumption is at Revolution in February. But they may do it before then. Maybe Winter is coming. That's a kind of a Dynamite show that they do. I don't know, but definitely an interesting turn of events here. Something I didn't see coming. I thought this was going to be just a competitive babyface on babyface match. But thoughts on that heel turn? Anything?
I mean, you kind of seen it coming. Like it had to have happened. It had to happen. Especially if you're going to use Page versus Bryan. People are going to cheer for Page. That's happening.
Yeah.
without giving them a reason not to cheer for Brian, they were going to.
Yeah.
So
He got booed by the end of it. Of course, they were in Adam Page's home state.
Mhm.
So that's interesting to know. Will
but he
get
got
booed other
cheers when he
places?
came out.
He did until he started acting like this, and it was like,
Mhm.
whoa. And then he got booed. So he did his job, and he did it well. And I'm not going to lie, it definitely got me interested in the match more than maybe a babyface versus babyface match would. Just very abrupt. That was the only thing about it. It was just like, okay. I mean, well, I'll go with it. It's a great television. They did a great job. And he sold it in the, 15 minutes or whatever this segment was. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in seeing this, so we'll see where they go with it. MJF video promo aired after his match with Darby Allin. MJF said he wasn't covered in pain, he's covered in shame. Everyone said MJF couldn't wrestle, that he was only good on the microphone, but he proved that he could wrestle. Even though everyone hates his guts, they have no choice to admit just how good he is. He beat Allin with a headlock takeover and gesturing as if he was wearing a belt. He asked, who knows what's next for MJF? Yeah. It felt like he was holding this promo in for a while now. Like all the criticisms he's taken, and he came out and had a banger of a match with Darby Allin. Sounds like, he got a little bit of a chip
I
on
would
his
have
shoulder.
never said he couldn't wrestle. That's just horseshit.
I just think
I've
he
seen
did
him.
because he hasn't done it a lot that people criticize. But yeah, I wouldn't either.
Hell, the match with Sammy Guevara, the match with fucking Jericho. Yeah, I would have never said that.
Didn't he wrestle Jungle Boy at 1.2?
Yeah, Jungle Boy at one point.
So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's had great matches. It's just that he is sporadic about how often. But at the same time, I don't want to see him wrestle every week. I mean, some guys they do that with. Danielson, not as much Punk. I mean, it can, take the shine off the rose a little bit, or whatever the expression is. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with it. But, yeah, maybe a little bit more than maybe once every 3 months. I think, this is pro wrestling. You don't have to see everybody on every show. That's just the way it is. Eddie Kingston was about to be interviewed by Tony Schiavone, but 2.0 and Daniel Garcia interrupted. They said Kingston didn't last as long against Punk as Garcia did. Kingston said he doesn't respect Garcia and shoved him. So I think we're getting this match on Rampage this week. So good little setup there. Then we had the Chaos stable from New Japan, including Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii. Defeated the Butcher and the Blade with Matt Hardy and the Bunny at ringside here. Obviously, Ishii, I might have seen him wrestle one time. So it was good to see him here. He is a bowling ball of a human being.
Yeah, that's what I call him, the Bulldog or the Pitbull one.
Okay, all right. Well, I need to learn a little bit more on my New Japan Pro Wrestling for sure.
And like the thing is, we watched him wrestle before.
We probably have, and I recognized him, but it's just I don't watch New Japan that much, unfortunately. But they got a good win here for the Chaos stable or faction or whatever they call them in New Japan. They said Okada would be proud, so I'm sure again we're getting name drops for Okada. How long before we start getting him, Kota Ibushi, some of these other big names showing up here in AEW? I got a feeling it's going to come at some point or another.
Okada would be huge.
That would be or Will Ospreay. Could you imagine that? I mean, that would be something. Andrade El Idolo and FTR were interviewed backstage. Andrade said that he proved he's a better wrestler than Pac and Cody. Cash said he was frustrated that he and Dax were robbed. They suggested getting Malachi Black and making it an 8-man tag. Totally addressed Arn and said he's got one more in him. So apparently we're going to be getting the Death Triangle and Cody versus Andrade, FTR, and Malachi Black at some point here moving forward. So again, could be a fun 8-man tag, but at some point, how long do these feuds,
I think you got to wrap it up.
At some point, I understand. At least it's not every single week, but I understand it for sure. Maybe time to get on with some other stuff for sure. But then again, FTR just wrestled the Lucha Bros at the pay-per-view, so it wasn't like, but I get it. Ty Conte cut a promo saying she didn't fail on Saturday. She learned. The next time she gets a title shot, she will become champion. Well, I hate to tell her she did fail, but she might have learned some lessons. And like I said, she's learning. She's going to get there, but it's just not her time yet, and that's fine. Britt Baker, flanked by Hayter and Rebel, were interviewed by Shivani. Baker said she directed the conversation to the inaugural TBS champion, Jamie Hayter, in her eyes, I guess. They didn't want to hear about Hayter's opponent, Thunder Rosa, which Tony Schiavone mentioned. Baker promised Hayter would win. So that, again, laying the seeds there that Thunder Rosa is likely going to face Britt Baker at some point. Probably not going to win the TBS championship. Maybe Britt Baker costs her that match because again, she's facing Hayter. So it would stand to reason that maybe Britt costs Thunder Rosa that, and that's why Thunder will face off against Baker at some point going down the line. And I think Thunder Rosa will be the one to take the title off Britt for a while. No doubt.
I think so too. They've put more into that than anything. I don't see why that wouldn't happen.
But not only that, everybody tends to forget there was a non-sanctioned match they had where Thunder Rosa beat Britt. But again, non-sanctioned, so it doesn't technically count in the standings, and they can play off that storyline the entire time. And I think that's what they're going to do. And it's smart booking, so I got no problem with it. So we'll see how that goes. Then we had a TBS Championship Tournament match. Nyla Rose defeated Hikaru Shida. Didn't see this one coming, but if you look at the brackets, you can kind of understand why they put the heel over here. With Serena Deeb got involved on the outside, ended up attacking Shida's knee, which ended up costing her the match. So it sets up the Shida and Deeb continuation of their feud, and then it sets up a heel going up against the winner between the two babyfaces, Chris Statlander and who was Ruby Soho. So one of those two will take on Nyla Rose. So it makes some sense to do it that way. So I get what they were doing. Not a bad match, all things considered, though. Malachi Black talked about the definition of a nightmare. He said his team in the 8-man tag would haunt his 4 opponents. He told his opponents to take deep breaths while oxygen is still on their side. So just a way to get Malachi some screen time, but not in the ring. So, and from what I understand, him, Malachi, and I think it was Dax Harwood were banged up coming, and Eddie Kingston, I think, were banged up coming off the pay-per-view. So if that's the case, good to give them a little bit of rest here for sure. Then we had MJF out in the ring. He was flanked by Wardlow and Shawn Spears. Wardlow, once again, during all these shenanigans, just kind of standing back here, not really having anything of it. And another thing I noticed, too, speaking of Jamie Hayter, during the interview with Britt Baker, every time Britt Baker does the DMD thing, Rebel does it, Hayter does not. So, again, planting them seeds that Hayter may turn on Britt someday down the line. So just a little thing I noticed. MJF asked Shawn Spears to shut the crowd up, and Spears failed. MJF told the crowd they're looking at the guy who checks all the boxes, the most complete pro wrestler on this planet. He's the past, present, and future of pro wrestling, and could take a big old cowboy shit right on Adam Hangman Page's title reign. MJF deserves to be the next AEW World Champion because nobody in that locker room is on his level. That is when CM Punk's music hit. The feud that we've kind of speculated could be coming down the line here is apparently now here. Punk walked out. There were a lot of chants for him. MJF introduced himself and offered a handshake, but Punk just looked at it, turned around, walked away, smiling the whole way up the ramp. I liked the way he just didn't acknowledge it, just really, and just walked off. Punk ain't stupid. So smart baby face. I like that. Just subtle. Didn't really have a whole lot to it, but it made me want to see this match. I think it's off to a good start. The promos when Punk actually does speak are going to be great, and I think MJF and him are going to go toe-to-toe on the mic, and it's going to be absolutely great to watch, no doubt about that. So I'm looking forward to that, no doubt about it.
For sure.
Darby Allin was interviewed backstage. Allin said that MJF didn't break him mentally and they would have a rematch at some point. He's not taking time off. He wants the best and baddest of AEW. So, of course, the best and baddest, the Gun Club walked up and Billy Gunn challenged Darby Allin to a match. I don't know about the best and baddest, but I guess he was the badass at one point, Billy Gunn. But obviously this is going to be Darby Allin getting a win over. But then again, they don't beat Billy Gunn and the Gun Club much, especially in trios matches, but this is going to be one-on-one. So it'll be interesting, but I think Darby Allin gets his win here to kind of help him get another win after the loss at the pay-per-view, and it keeps him strong. So I'm fine with that. So we'll see what happens. I think that's on Rampage this week as well. Super Click were backstage. They said Full Gear was one of the worst nights of their lives. It's just a show, guys. Come on. But anyway, neither of the Young Bucks are even cleared anymore. Super Click will come back stronger than ever, and Rampage will be Adam Cole and Bobby Fish against the Jurassic Express. So Bobby Fish walked up and promised to put an end to the Jurassic joke. They teased dissension at the end here a little bit. But that's because Bobby Fish started to say the Undisputed Era tagline, and the Bucks said, whoa, we can't say that here. So, don't do that. So, yeah, but even so, we got a mini Undisputed Era reunion on Rampage, Cole and Fish versus the Jurassic Express. It's either Rampage or Dynamite. Either way, Leo Rush and Dante Martin in a great tag team match, in my opinion, defeated the acclaimed Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. Definitely a lot of fun. Both these teams are very talented. Good to see a Leo Rush get the win here too off the frog splash after Dante Martin set up the victory. So good for him. And again, thoughts and prayers go out to Leo Rush since he lost his grandmother last week, which is why he was not on Rampage as he was scheduled to do there. They even mentioned it in a promo here, where even Acclaimed mentioned it before they decided to tear into both of them during a rap. But at the same time, good to see a win here for Lio Rush and Dante Martin. And then, of course, after the match, Team Taz walked out and congratulated Rush and Dante. Taz offered condolences to Rush and his family. He talked about offering Dante a contract last week in Rush's absence. Stark said they'd be patient and brought up that they were patient with Hobbs. The choice between Team Taz and Rush is the choice between a Hall of Fame career and a mediocre one. So I guess we're going to get some more tag team matches with Team Taz. That's my assumption here.
Listen, it's about time you do something other than this whole Brian Cage situation between them.
Well, he's not even. Yeah,
He's
in
not
the
been
picture.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Sounds like it's Ricky Starks and Hobbs, most likely against Dante Martin and Lio Rush. That's my assumption, unless they throw in Hook, which we still yet see wrestle.
Sorry.
But anyway, no, I don't know. I mean, Team Taz is just kind of there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, they're just kind of
Yeah.
there.
I mean, this is something, I guess, but it's a mid-card feud.
It's like they don't know. It's like no one knows what to do with them.
Yeah. I mean, it's there. That's the best I can say about it. There. And I really don't know what the other word could be.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I guess we'll get that something coming. Hopefully it'll lead to something. That's all I'm hoping. Most things on AEW does, in my opinion, but this here is just kind of like, all right, we got the contract thing with Dante trying to decide where he wants to go. Hopefully it'll at least lead to something with Dante, like deciding he don't want to be with any of these yahoos and wants to be with his brother Darius. But we don't know when he's coming back from injury, so I don't know. Top Flight could yet reunite once again, though. We'll have to wait and see. Christian Cage and Jungle Express were backstage. Christian said it was one of the best nights of their careers at Full Gear. Jungle Boy said the change inside him is here to stay. They're better now than they've ever been, and they see Cole and Fish on Friday. So, yeah, Jungle Boy kind of had this aggressive side of him. He's even growing out this facial hair, which a lot of the old cliche used to be when you grow out your beard, you're going to become a heel. I don't see Jungle Boy doing that yet, but the aggressiveness I liked. So, hopefully that'll stick, like he said here in the promo, and we'll get a little bit more out of Jungle Boy. So we'll see what they do with it, but sounds like they maybe have a direction there, so we'll see what they do. So, yeah, then they ran down the lineups for the next few shows. The Lucha Bros were backstage. Penta said the FTR couldn't get the job done. Phoenix said Death Triangle and Cody Rhodes has something special for him next week because they're the best four-man team in the universe, and yet we've not seen them team. So how are they the best four-man team in the universe? But cool, you're selling the promo. I get it, Ray. But, yeah, could be fun, so we'll see what happens. Before the match, they showed that Jay Lethal told Sammy Guevara to get ready for the toughest fight of his life. So, thoughts on Jay Lethal kind of joining AEW at this point?
I mean, I'm super stoked. I'm glad the man has a job.
Yeah, especially after the Ring of Honor stuff that's been going on, for sure.
I listened to Booker T's podcast the other day, and he was talking about this whole situation and then Jay Lethal signing with AEW. So Jay Lethal is one of those faithful guys.
Yeah.
You know, one interview he said he will be with ROH until the doors close. And then
Sadly, I think they might have.
Yeah, that's what he said essentially. And signing with AEW, he said the same thing. You know,
right.
I'll be there till the doors. You're gonna get a great workhorse out of Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
And I'm, a Jay Lethal fan from long before he was on your TV screens.
Yeah.
I've seen Jay Lethal not at ROH at an AEW show. Quite a few of them back in Cleveland, where I believe he wrestled Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
And Tyler Black, aka Seth Rollins. I've been a fan of Jay Lethal for a while, and I'm happy he's there. I'm happy he's able to keep doing what he loves to do.
Agreed.
Obviously wrestling. And I'm sure you'll get to it when you get to it, but that match was fucking crazy.
Yeah. All I know is if AEW ever does bring in Ric Flair, I want another woo off. That's for sure. But
that was some of the man.
Woo, woo,
and he has
he
has his mannerisms down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. Even when he was it Black Machismo?
Black Machismo, yeah.
Which, interestingly enough, his AEW theme starts out with the Macho Man theme song, and then it kind of delves into something else, kind of like Danielson's did with the Fight of the Valkyrie. But I think that this is going to be a great signing. The only one nitpick I have here, night one, he gets a TNT Championship match. The only reason I'm not really going to kill it,
he wasn't going to win it.
critically, well, that too, but critically is because I think Sammy Guevara issued an open challenge. And open challenges are a little bit more forgiving in that regard. But ideally, I would rather see a newcomer earn the opportunity instead of just coming in from another company or off the street and just, all right, you're in a title match. But Staley's was great, though.
Yeah, this was an open challenge. He just, being the new guy on the block, well, you know what? You got an open challenge. I ain't got nothing to do. Here we go.
Yeah, and it was a great fun match, no doubt about that, especially in his first AEW match here. Boiled down to Guevara landed a bicycle knee on the outside. Lethal fell backwards onto a table, so Guevara went for a senton. Atomico is what they're calling it here. It was a senton bomb, but Lethal moved out of the way, and Guevara crashed through the table. Before this, he was teasing that he had his ribs taped up, Sammy Guevara did. He was teasing like maybe he even hurt him kind of injured himself again in this match a little bit. The doctors were checking on him a little bit during the commercial break in the picture-in-picture, but apparently he gutted it out, but then he took this senton bomb through the table, and I felt, oh, this poor guy. But Lethal moved out of the way, and Guevara crashed through the table. Lethal went for the top rope elbow drop, but Guevara turned it into a cradle for a near fall. Guevara flipped out of a lariat attempt, but Lethal turned him inside out with an inverted suplex for 2. Lethal locked on the figure 4 in the center of the ring, again, kind of playing on the Ric Flair thing a little bit. Guevara had to fight to reach the ropes. He kneed Lethal in the face and went for the GTH, but his midsection was too hurt. Guevara landed multiple rising knees and hit the GTH for the win. So, good match, like I said. Like you said, obviously Sammy Guevara wasn't going to lose this match. I think it was maybe his first TNT title defense. So if that's the case, yeah, it makes some sense. But again, you bring a new guy in, you kind of highlight him in the main event, you get his name out there for the AEW fans. That's a good thing there. Just would have maybe rather they built to it a little bit, but I get the open challenge aspect of it, so I'm not going to be too upset about it. But overall, good Dynamite show. Good week of wrestling for AEW in general.
Yep.
Full Gear was great. If you've not seen it, go check it out. I know it's still on pay-per-view at this point. You probably have to catch a replay, even though I think Fight might have been offering a replay for free. It might have been Sunday only, because I heard Bleacher Report app had some issues. I had no issues with it watching it here myself on Bleacher Report, but good on Tony Khan to offer it for free to those who did buy it, and it did work very well, so good for that. But yeah, any other thoughts on AEW this week or anything like that?
That was a good show, man.
Yeah. Good Dynamite, good stuff. Dynamite's, to me, they're just the best pro wrestling in the States for sure. Maybe even the world. Well, that's debatable, I suppose. But that's just one man's opinion. That's why we cover it here on the channel. All right, so I guess through all the chaos through this evening, this will do it for the this week's episode of the show channel here. We're going to probably do another long episode probably 2 weeks from now, because Thanksgiving is next week. We'll probably take next week off. You may see me post some videos here and there on the channel throughout the next couple weeks, but we'll come back with Brandon and another full episode here in a couple weeks. So hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving holiday as well. And if you're new to this channel and you've yet to subscribe, please click the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell too, so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. I do trailer reactions, movie news, everything that was in this video. Sometimes Michael have some
soon to come, as soon as we both have some free time.
Oh no.
You're gonna see Eric be very bad at video games.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to be doing some more video game stuff, because Battlefield came out. We're probably going to be playing that like crazy, too. I'd like to get in some more video game streams here on the channel as well, because, I mean, I like to do this show weekly here with the long format with Brandon. Maybe not this long, but like to do it that way, and maybe do some short videos every now and then do some more video game stuff. That's my plan here on the channel mostly, so look forward to all that. So with that being said, guys, we're going to get out of here. Until our next video, take care.
Later.
We about to turn it up.